Fresh start. Fresh start. Fresh start. Fresh start. Brought to you by Club Soda. 365 Club Soda. Live chat. Here we go. We're live. Are we live? We're public. Okay.
We're live. Yep.
I think people probably got sick. No one's gonna come in now. They're just like, all right, we're done with that for the day. Hey. Okay, so everyone, let us know how the sound is. Let us know how the video is, the audio. Before we get started, give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Vince, you want to say a couple things just so people can
Testing. 1, 2, 3. Is my voice robotic?
Yes. No, I mean, yes, is it robotic? I'm not saying yes. I'm saying please answer the question. Yes or no?
It's great. She says. He says.
Sounds great. Yeah, I think Freshie is a female. I always have to try to figure that out sometimes. Because my go-to is I want to say, thanks, bro. You know what I mean? Thanks, sir.
Right.
Things like that. And then sometimes they're like, I'm a female. Wow. The ladies came out. The ladies came out for Vince.
There's lots of ladies. Lots of ladies in the chat room here.
Oh, hey, we got someone from Cudahy here, 1960. What's happening from beautiful downtown Cudahy? Sound is good. So we got a little bit of a versatile audience. Okay, then fine. I think we're good. I think we've passed the test. Okay. So here we are, Shutter Shop 45. We are on a live stream with Vince from The Red Elephants. Vince, why don't you give yourself a quick little intro, let people know who you are that don't know who you are, explain, how you got to this point.
Well, basically, I started a Facebook page around 2 years ago. It was called the Federalists of Paul Revere, and our mantra was basically federalism and, invoking federalism and restoring power to the states instead of the federal government, right? More like a Ron Paul type thing, small government, big power of the people. So that was us, and I got with one of my buddies who owns a media company in Chicago. It's a sports media company, and we turned it into the Red Elephants, and it just grew from there. And we're averaging somewhere around like 9,000 to 10,000 new follows every single week. Unfortunately, we've been having problems with Facebook lately for banning us for live streaming things that have to do with Maxine Waters, and it's a little fishy for sure. But yeah.
So you were saying basically you were a Ron Paul guy, and so then you're by the looks of your hat, I'm gonna guess you're a Trump guy now, right?
Yes.
And what brought you to that? Because Trump and Ron Paul definitely aren't. They have similarities, but there's definitely a lot of differences also. So what brought you to Trump?
What brought me to Trump was basically mainly his lack of political correctness. I cheered when he said, when he was on that hot mic video in the tour bus with Billy, whatever his name was. That was hilarious to me.
Billy Bush.
Yeah, Billy Bush. That was funny. And I basically, because I laughed at every time he spoke, it was hilarious to me. And he was just triggering people left and right, and people hated him both on the hardcore neocon conservative side and the hard left side, and all left side, really.
The whole world, pretty much, right?
The whole world, yeah. And that's, really, actually, it was his economic policies and his immigration policies, mainly America First policies, getting, kind of going against the EPA and all these different departments and things like that, and reducing all these kind of stringent sanctions that the EPA puts on our economy, and how they kind of like strangle our economy by putting all these like impossible regulations, making it hard for businesses to grow. So in
with Trump, what I noticed, especially for the level of activism coming out of I guess you would say the right. I've never seen anything like that before. It's a level of activism you would only see on the left.
Right.
Now, did you get involved in the activism first, or did you get involved in the reporting? Like, what brought you to all that?
It was mainly just me in the beginning, just basically looking for a place to tell the truth without all of my liberal friends on Facebook like lashing out. And and now I don't give a shit anymore. Now, I post left and right on my personal page, but mainly it was just like looking for a place to vent. Is that a plane?
Yeah, one sec. Holy shit, it's like a fighter jet.
Holy shit.
They found me.
Fucking North Korea, dude.
Yeah, they found me.
North Korea.
They don't want us having this conversation. Hold on one second.
Oh, it's like a fucking fleet.
It's like another one. Jesus Christ, what is going on? Usually it's helicopters.
Let me add to that.
Okay, I think we're good now. Sorry, where were we?
Those were probably Maxine Waters jets.
Yes.
They're
picking up the signal.
But yeah, I was just looking for a place to vent and tell the truth of what all the media was lying about. And so that's how the Federalists of Paul Revere came about, the Facebook page. Now it's the Red Elephants. So now we have a website, and we're writing our own articles and streaming events, and then putting them on YouTube, cutting them up, things like that, and just getting the truth out there in full context first, and then the edited version later, instead of the edited version only, which is what the mainstream media does. Now, granted, when there's 3, 4, 5-hour live streams, no one's going to watch a 5-hour live stream on YouTube, so we have to, cut out the most important parts. But we do show in full context, much like what you do. I mean, you just go there and you just film.
Right.
You don't say nothing. So we're more of like a what's called advocacy journalism.
Sure.
So we're definitely not objective journalism, that's for sure.
And you're open about that because clearly you're wearing the hat, so it's
right.
There's no hiding it.
Right. I mean, Sean Hannity's wore MAGA hats too, but we're advocacy journalism. What's called advocacy journalism, not objective journalism.
So you have a clear bias, and you're not shy about it.
We have a clear bias, and we're not shy about it. However, we are not afraid to call out the need. We're never going to side with the Republicans. We're not afraid to call out the neocons like the Paul Ryans and the Ted Cruzes and the Jeb Bushes, the cuck-servatives, if you will.
Right.
We hate them as much as we hate the people on the left. At least I.
At least you do.
Right.
And I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that feel the same way. I mean, I think a lot that has transpired in recent times, with the two things in D.C. where they broke up, and like I was saying, I feel like, what do they call it? The alt-right, basically.
Right.
Event. It was very reminiscent of politics I've seen my whole life, and to me that's actually really boring. I found myself, even though Richard Spencer, I'm like mixed bag about him because sometimes I think he actually is trolling because when I hear interviews of him and the words he uses and the way he speaks, but I still find I find that side, I was watching videos from both sides, and it just was drawn to the alt-right. Not for the fact that I agree with everything they're saying, but more for the fact that I just find it's just more interesting to me. It's something, you always find things that are interesting that you haven't seen before. You know what I mean? And
right.
That's something it seems a little more new. So I think I'm attracted to it in that sense.
It's something new. It's something a little bit more interesting. But yeah, I believe that people like Richard Spencer are definitely, for sure, trolling a lot of the times. I mean, like you saw in that Cudahy video you were playing last night, there was you have a helicopter flying over your house right now?
Yeah, it's I'm in a hot area. Sorry, I know I need to get out of the city, but I think it's gone. You're good.
Dude, fuck Los Angeles. Anyway, move to Orange County. Anyway, yeah, but I think people like Richard Spencer are mostly just trolling. Because if you look at that Cudahy video, Bryden, that you were playing last night, where he did the Roman salute.
Yes.
I actually am very familiar with Bryden. He's good friends with Baked Alaska.
Okay.
And he's actually like a National Socialist, but they put high importance to trolling places like BuzzFeed.
Right.
Yeah, they put that at the top of their goals, to troll places like BuzzFeed. To hop in front of the BuzzFeed camera and give a Roman salute, or say "See Kyle" or whatever. You know what I mean? So that's where that comes from, and I think Richard Spencer kind of coined that. You know what I mean? In a sense that. That's where the whole Kekistan comes from and all that.
Right.
Those little Blue Angels.
This is crazy because this never happens. Dude, what is
those are fucking fighter planes.
Hold on one sec. I have to see what this is. Yeah, those are definitely fighter jets. And you know what? I forgot. There was actually a bomb squad down the street from my house. Maybe I should be checking this out after this interview.
Holy shit, are you serious?
Yeah, there was bomb squads when I was going for a run, and I totally forgot to... But I don't know if they'd be... I don't know why they'd send fighter jets.
Dude, they fucking broke the... They, set off alarms.
Yeah, no, you heard that, right? They were setting off alarms. So, anyway, back to... That's it. So,
yeah, that's where the Kekistan comes from. Just the utmost ultimate trolling imaginable. The Kekistan flag is made after the 1930s or the 1940s Nazi Third Reich flag, right? So the pattern's the same, right?
Okay.
So it's just and then you have the 4Ks in the shape of a Nazi symbol almost, and it comes from Kekistan and Pepe and trolling people who always think there's fucking Nazis everywhere.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's they see Nazis in their cereal. That's where that comes from. Trolling BuzzFeed, trolling these people, making them think that there's a Nazi invasion. So I think that's one of Richard Spencer's biggest thing that he tries to do when he goes on these interviews and things like that.
Yeah, and I guess that's where I have mixed feelings about all that, because I'm 100% the whole Laura Loomer thing, the meme with the gas chamber. To me, that's all just comedy. It's all just done in jest. I think people get worked up about things too easily, and I'm all down for all freedom of speech. But at the same time, sometimes I wonder if certain using these tactics in certain instances helps or hurts the situation in the long run. With the thing with Bryden, he did that at the end when everyone was gone, and BuzzFeed turned around, and I'm guessing somehow told Chris Garcia, or they're somehow in cahoots, because it seemed to get to him quickly, and that BuzzFeed video is a long live feed, and it literally is I was trying to get a screenshot of him doing it. It happened so fast. He jumps in and says, I think, "Hail Victory,"
right?
And then it turns, oh my God, they're Nazis. See, they say they're not Nazis. And I just think that sometimes it's so they took that and then they used it against it. And then the next thing you know, there's video clips coming out about white supremacists and stuff like that, which is...
It doesn't matter. They were, before this whole Kekistan thing, before this whole alt-right became super popular. I think the alt-right was actually coined by Richard Spencer in 2008 or 2009 or something like that. But yeah, it doesn't matter. They were calling us racist and Nazis and everything like that. The best thing to do is to accept, and even though you're not, but to accept and then feed into it, because we already won. It doesn't matter regardless. They put Hitler mustaches on McCain when he was running. They put Hitler mustaches on fucking George Bush.
Yeah, I've seen, actually. I was coming out of this is very liberal. LA white of me. I was coming out of Trader Joe's a couple of years ago, and someone was out there protesting, basically protesting Obama, and there was this big sign, and it was actually Obama, and he had the Hitler stuff on, and this guy, he was wearing what are those shoes those people wear, the clog, whatever, it doesn't matter. He was he basically got so mad that like someone had made an image of Obama dressed as Hitler, and it's like, where have you been? Like, it's like every single president. You act like this is like brand new. You know what I mean? So
right.
It's yeah. So you're right in that sense. Everybody's been Hitler, right? That's always been the thing ever since I acknowledged what politics was. It was like
right.
every leader was as bad as Hitler. You know what I mean? So in that sense, yeah, no, you're definitely right about that. So, so for people who don't know, in Cudahy is a sanctuary city, and this all started out with, as far as I know, it starts with Arthur Schapper and a group called We the People Rising, and their whole thing is to go around to sanctuary cities and kind of, as they say, put them on notice and let them know that, there's a new sheriff in town, and the laws will be enforced. They also seem to be looking to uncover some type of corruption within Cudahy. I don't know what that corruption is. I really don't. The closest thing I can get to understanding it is if you listen to a clip by Jack Guerrero. He actually does his own 2 minutes at these meetings, and he goes off about it. Still, I'm not exactly sure. That criminality within politics always confuses me, because I never know what's real and what's not, because it seems like the rules are truly made to be broken in politics. But so there had been some meetings, and each meeting seemed to get more tense and tense. Like I was at the meeting where they called all the Trump supporters white supremacists. And then what that did, that attracted another meeting where, so the first meeting I went to, it was basically Trump supporters and a lot of people from Cudahy who weren't necessarily all Trump supporters, but they were against what was going on in Cudahy. So they liked Jack Guerrero, or they were against whatever, something, again, these are things I'm a little unclear of, but that's the vibe I got. Like at the end of the night, was funny, I was saying last night, the guy that they're calling Bryden, that's like their white supremacist basically. I have a video where he's basically taking pictures of a large crowd of the locals, and he's smiling and they're joking around, and it's like, so even if he is, like, the thing is this, they spend so much time trying to find out if people are white supremacists or not, but the problem is that even if, okay, I don't know, he seems to identify, maybe he's a white nationalist, right? So, but it comes down to a point that, he doesn't really seem, even if he did identify that, he doesn't really seem that dangerous. You know what I mean? Like, if he can come down to Cudahy and he can smile with the locals and take a picture, take their picture for them, he was taking a group picture for them, you have to wonder, and, nothing against him, but he looks like he's a $110 wet. You know what I'm saying? So, I think they try to make monsters out of people off of little gestures and sayings and stuff. And it seems to me what's ridiculous about it for me is that it gets in the way of what the real message is. In Cudahy, there's people who definitely have issues with people coming there, and then the people who are going there, the Trump supporters, they have issues, and there should be issues that could be debated, but everything's getting bogged down with this. Everyone's racist, everyone's a white supremacist, things like that.
Right, right. Yeah, I mean, there's your answers. White supremacists everywhere. Everyone's a white supremacist.
Well, yeah, you had so before we get to the meeting that you went to, let me see if I can actually pull this up. You sent me, so this is a flyer, right? This is a flyer that was put on your car. Like you said, multiple flyers were put on your car here. Let me just see if I can pull this up real quick. I wanted to pull it up before, but I was so we were having those issues, so I just wanted to make sure. Sorry for the lag, ladies and gentlemen. This is technical. We are live here with Shuttershot 45. We are on the live stream with Vince from the Red Elephants. If you're just tuning in, Deccan, thank you for the super chat. You do great work. Keep it up. I think she's probably talking to both of us. So this is, I'm just going to pull this up and kind of overlay it over the top of us.
Right.
Do you want me to read it, or would you like to read it?
No, you could, whatever you want.
Okay.
I can read it.
Okay, go ahead. Why don't you read it for the people? And so this was put on his car. These were basically flyers they were passing out before the Cudahy meeting. So this is the message basically that the people of Cudahy are receiving. That's pretty much the gist of it, right?
Right. Yeah. Okay. So these are the pile. They threw like a pile in my car, right? So groups with a white nationalist agenda are invading Cudahy City Council meetings, verbally, physically attacking and intimidating residents. This group of individuals who does not live in Cudahy comes to protest the city's sanctuary status. Their sole purpose is to attack the residents, question their immigration status, and to punish our city. They call it patriotism, but they use that word to hide their bigotry. They are not patriots. They are racists. Using a clause in Proposition 218, this group plans to attack Cudahy's economy and has submitted a ballot initiative to repeal the utility user tax, the UUT. They have publicly announced that this is to punish the city and its residents for its sanctuary status.
Hold on, what? We got another helicopter? Damn, I'm really gonna have to check this out after this interview. Now I'm curious about what's going on. So let me just take this off real quick. So that, so this is the message basically that people are getting. And while some of the message in that is actually accurate, like the idea that they're, the utility tax,
right,
things like that, which is true. But I don't know. Like I said, I've been covering this stuff for over a year and a half. I've been covering these meetings, for multiple times. The closest thing you get to a white supremacist was that Bryden guy. You know what I mean? I know people call Blake Alaska a white supremacist, but it's just not. The thing is that I'm not sure what a white supremacist is anymore, because I think they tend to blanket the term white supremacist. I'm sure many of the people at this meeting might consider me a white supremacist because I think that the rule is that if you don't denounce things, then that makes you a white supremacist.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, and like I said, I think this is what builds the tension. So, then this is what led up to the meeting that you went down to. So why don't you just like explain exactly what happened when you went down? This was last Monday, right? Am I accurate on that? Not the Monday that just passed, the Monday before that.
Last Monday, correct.
Right. So 2 Mondays ago, basically.
The Cudahy meeting was. Yeah, was it? No, it was just this past Monday, Cudahy.
Oh, it was. Yeah,
it was just this past Monday.
Yeah,
right.
Derek, what am I talking about? You're right. Sorry. So why don't you just explain a little bit of that?
Yeah. So essentially, so we went there. We went to the meeting directly following the meeting. What happened was we were confronted outside. They were threatening us. You saw the clip. The dude said that he was going to lay one of our writers out. A couple of the dudes. Threatening us, and then we finally, after a whole bunch of arguments ensued, we finally took off, left the facility, left the city hall, and then we were walking back to our cars, and just as always, like all the town halls and city halls that we've been to, we were followed by a few people. And so they followed us to our cars, but they were only following us because they were only following us because I'll take you up on that offer, Fire Earth.
Anaheim Hills, I'm coming for you, Vince.
No, he says, Vince, you got a pretty mouth.
Oh!
I'll make you my woman.
Oh, even better.
I'm down for that.
See? We're open-minded.
Anyway, so yeah, so we were following. So we were followed. They followed us back to our car, and everyone was arguing. Just a bunch of fucking drama, right? But the craziest thing, though, was, and it's normal, right? It always happens. The craziest thing was that when we drove away, just a few blocks away, we were driving. We saw a car that was that had a couple of the people that were with us in it, a white car, and there was about 25 or 30 police officers that had all of their weapons drawn on the car: shotguns, pistols, AR-15s, all drawn on this car. And we're like, wow, that's Hareem's in there, and a couple of our other guys are in there. And so we're like, wow, what the fuck? So I decided to film, and the cops told me, turn around and go back the other way. And I'm like, I didn't listen to them. I pulled off into the corner on the other side of the parking lot and started filming because, you know, I wanted to get some footage of what's going on. And yeah, so we saw one by one each of the occupants of the white car walking backwards with their hands behind their head, walking back to the police car, and no one got no one got what was I going to say? No one got arrested, really. I mean, the guy that was brandishing the gun, you could argue whether he was in the right or the wrong, right? I'll be objective about that. But they were approaching his car, and he did have a legal right to draw it. You do in California have a legal right to draw your weapon if you have a CCW if you feel threatened. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, no one else got arrested. I think Elsa had like some warrants for trespassing a few years prior, like 7 years ago. So they let her go, though. They released Omar Navarro's wife, which was actually one of the occupants of the vehicle. And Omar Navarro is campaigning to take down Maxine Waters in the 2018 election for Congress. So that was kind of like a high-profile type of a case there, where she was in the car. So, I mean, that's pretty much what happened. And you know, they surrounded my car. They were throwing these flyers in the car and like trying to get me to like hit them back. Because once I like threw something back at them, they were like, "Oh, you see what he did?" Like pointing to the police, like trying to get them to like arrest me.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm not falling for that trap again. But yeah, so I mean and then they threw something at my car, and I was like, "Hey, you know," I saw the police witness what happened. I was like, "You guys gonna do anything?" And they're just like, "Get out of here," you know. So you guys can, I mean, you can see that video on my channel where I kind of go clip by clip what really happened. But yeah. Anyway,
well, that's the interesting part is because I've read all the reports on what happened that day, the news reports. I went through all the articles, the Los Angeles Times, the clip of ABC, and like you said, you could definitely argue whether or not it was a smart idea to flash his gun. Now, in the sense that thought he was in danger, he's an ex-cop, he has the legal right. Which seems to be a little debatable, because I remember someone last night brought up some type of law or something, a California law. So I guess maybe it's a little bit of a gray area. But basically what you're saying is if he felt threatened, he was completely in the right to do it. But I guess the two questions would be is whether it's his legal right or not, was it smart as far as optics go? This brings us back to the Bryden thing. You know what I mean? Like, how does that do for optics? What does that do for what they've been doing down there? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's more the question. That's one question. And then the other question would be, do you think the cops not knowing what was going on, so the cops get word that there's a gun, do you think them drawing their weapons, do you think that was overkill?
The cops drawing their weapons?
Yes.
No, because they don't know if the guy is fucking crazy or not, right? They don't know him from Sam or Adam. Sure. He could be wanting to attack the cops. Who knows, right? I don't blame the cops one bit for drawing their weapons on him.
And
by the way, Fire Earth, I do live in Anaheim Hills. You're right. Come get me. I'm right here. I'm sitting right here. You'll get shot before you even approach my lawn. You need to. Anyway.
Oh, hold on. Let me just. I'll just make you the. You tell me to. Where are you on the chat here? Okay. I'll mod you up. Just in case. Oh, okay. RDE, real quick, we'll just answer this question. I am out of the loop. Who is 45 interviewing? So this is Shutter Shop 45. I am here live on the live stream with Vince from The Red Elephants. The Red Elephants is a conservative. How do you put it, Vince?
How do I put what?
You called your journalism as
advocacy journalist. We're advocacy journalists. So
advocacy journalist, and we're interviewing him because he went down to a Cudahy meeting on Monday, and after the meeting they were followed to their cars, and a lot ensued where someone who was in a car with Harim, who was a former police officer, flashed his gun at a crowd, which just made a big commotion, to say the least. So that's what we're talking about right now. So this guy keeps saying, give Maui an interview. I'll give anyone who wants to come on and do this. If you're from Cudahy or you're wherever and you want to do what we're doing right now, I'm all for it. You can email me. I'm easy to find. Shuttershop45@gmail. You can't dox me because my shit's all in the open anyway, and there's nothing to really dox. So there it is. Shuttershop45@gmail.
Yeah, get those likes up, guys.
Yeah, smash the like button so we can get people seeing this. Only 38 likes. It's a joke, so he said it's a joke. Oh, Maui. Oh, I think he's talking about Naui. Are you familiar? I'm familiar with Naui because just to get off the topic for a second, but do you know who Naui is?
Yeah, I do. I know who Naui is. I sent you some of the people that were in our chat the other day that were live. They were from Pole, and so they sent. They're not going to do anything with it, but they doxed Naui and a whole bunch of other people that were at the Cudahy meeting and sent us their addresses and phone numbers and all these things and their faces and yeah, I mean we know exactly who Naui is. Naui's just a troll. He's just a YouTuber guy. He's not anything. I mean, he might even be willing to get on an interview if you really want to.
Yeah, you know, him and the relationship. Like the thing is that like I can't help it, you know, with my background and everything. I view everything, you know, I have my views and all that, but at the same time I view everything as like I don't know if this is the right word, but like aesthetics. You know what I mean? Like I view everything as like a narrative, and I really the relationship between Naui and Arthur is so comical to me. You know what I mean? With the way they go at each other and how Arthur shows up with a t-shirt and he calls it Naui wear, and it's a picture of Naui on the t-shirt. Like, oh man, that stuff just really cracks me up. But yeah, I was actually looking into him a little bit. He's got a YouTube channel. You're right, he has a YouTube channel, and I looked at it, and I would be, you know, if he sees this, I'd be more than willing to interview. I'm willing to interview anyone. You know, if people see this interview and they say, "Oh, you only want to interview one side," we can do this. It just took us like an hour, but next time we should be able to set this up a little quicker.
Yeah, someone said you should interview the gay fedora hat guy. That guy's to interview. I think Arthur interviewed him.
Yeah, no, that's kind of probably my main one to get. He's the to be honest with you, the first day, or not the first day, but the second meeting I went to, I met him, and he was, you know, he was cordial. Like we shook hands, and you know, he asked me, "Oh, what are you doing here?" And I said, "Oh, I just, you know, I was basically telling him that I've been covering this stuff," and you know, he doesn't. I think the thing is that I think a lot of this stuff brings out the ugliest in people. You know what I mean? It's like you get so worked up, you know, like, and that's why I think in moments like when you went to Cudahy, you know, they're getting in your face, and then you guys are kind of pushing back, and then when you're leaving, you know what I mean? It's getting tense, and they were following you out, and then it gets to the cars, and you're saying things you may necessarily don't mean 100%. They're saying things. My issue with it is, to me, I think the only thing is, as much as don't get me wrong, bro, I love watching this stuff, the live stream, like, right. That's a great live stream. The thing that worries me is that something happens, right? So let's say two people get into it. Let's say one person shoots another person stabs another person, whatever the thing is. Let's say someone dies. Well, someone's gonna die and someone's gonna go to jail. And really, what does it do for what people on both sides are trying to do? You know what I mean? Does it help either side? And I guess that just worries me a little bit, in the sense, you know, I know I'm like the boring person. Like, it's boring to, it's much easier, you know. I think people are more attracted to yelling, "Let's go to war, we gotta fuck
right.
shit up," you know what I mean? Like,
right.
That's a little more. But at the same time, for a longevity of something, for, you know, like, because there's a reason why this all goes down. There's a reason on both sides. There's a reason why people are traveling to Cudahy. There's a reason why the whole neighborhood is coming out. You know what I mean? They obviously have strong views on the subject. And I definitely think, you know, like Arthur did an interview with that. You know, and if you watch that interview, I don't know if I saw it to the very end, but the most of the interview, it was actually pretty cordial. You know, they didn't agree on anything, right, but they got through it. And I'll say, the one thing I will say about Arthur, Arthur always says that he's protected. Like because people say, oh man, you go to these places by yourself, and he just has this like God is protecting me vibe to him. And I do notice that it's almost a weird relationship with Arthur and them, because it's almost like it's more like personal, like they know each other. And even even when Arthur is there, Arthur will walk into a group of 100 people that supposedly hate him, but they still kind of allow him. And I think maybe that might have been the difference where it escalated so quickly with you guys, because some new faces were showing up, and they are in, we can talk about politics and we can talk about right and wrong, but you also have to acknowledge that, you go into these areas, they are quote unquote hood areas, and in the hood areas, whether it's Southgate or Linwood or Compton or all these areas, there is like a kind of that primal instinct. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And
yes.
And I think that definitely, like, you kind of have to acknowledge that a little bit to really get a full picture of it. Now, this does play into the whole indoctrination of, these areas are definitely like, like I've been in a lot of these areas. They don't walk around like I hate white people, but they do have a certain way of talking about white people where it's kind of common, like pretty much the whole country. You know what I mean? That's that common shitting on white people, no problem. It's just part of the deal.
Right.
And of course, they're seeing it as, you're shitting on us. But really, I think the core of it is you guys are really talking about illegal immigration.
Right.
So it's not.
Yeah. I mean,
go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just saying. Yeah. I mean, that's exactly what. I mean, where it is. I mean, if you look at it, it's not racist to talk about illegal immigration and the problems that it causes upon us.
Absolutely not.
I mean, basically, the thing is that in Texas alone, in a 5-year period from 2011 to 2016, in a 5-year period alone in one border state, in a 5-year period alone in one border state, there were 600,000 crimes by illegal aliens, and 3,000 of those were rape, 6,000 of those were murder. I mean, these are stats. I'm a statistics guy. This is what's going on. This is a 5-year period alone. This is according to the Texas Department of Public Safety. And so, people can say, oh, we have rape here, we have murder here already going on. But the thing is that that's like saying that, okay, my friend already has debt on their credit card. Let me put more additional debt on their credit card because they're already in debt. We have to fix these things. Even Latino people and other immigrants that I've talked to, they don't want any more illegal immigration coming in. They don't want any more criminals coming in, any more drugs coming in. They're destroying their own cities. I mean, wouldn't it be great to have every single city like Anaheim Hills, where I live? Every single city would be great. I mean, every single city to look like Anaheim Hills in America, the whole country would be prosperous. Absolutely. But you get the illegal immigration that comes in, and they turn our cities into third world countries. I mean, look at Santa Ana, look at Cudahy, look at all these different cities throughout the country. I mean, you could see the stark difference.
And something I think that people tend to look past is the fact that, when we talk about politics in the federal government would be in charge of handling like an illegal immigrant that commits a crime, right? Whereas if like, let's say someone in the neighborhood who's a legal citizen rapes somebody, that's the jurisdiction of the city, right? Or the state or the city.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's not going to be a federal crime unless they decide to take it up. I mean,
so that's what I'm saying. I think that people kind of like forget that. It's like, it's not the job of, like, it's two different things. You know what I'm saying? So, like, if you want to stop crimes from illegal immigrants, that's a federal thing, right? The federal government needs to take care of that. And
yeah, the federal government needs to take care of it. Well, the thing is that so we do have what's called what is it called? We do have what's called I forget what it's called. It's basically like control within the states. So we do have that, right? We do. The states do have some power, right? So that's why the states can kind of go against federal law and turn their cities into sanctuary cities and let their cities become sanctuary status, or sell marijuana even though it's not federally legal yet, to smoke marijuana socially or sell marijuana socially. The states have sovereignty, right? RDE, and so they do have some power. But whenever it gets out of hand, the federal government needs to step in control. See, the federal government's is kind of gotten to the habit of stepping in and controlling things when the states were doing a fine job.
Right.
Like the education, for instance. So the Department of Education came about in the 1980s. It never used to be a federal thing. It was state controlled before the 1980s. And the federal budget for the Department of Education per year is $75 billion. So each year, the Department of Education gets $75 billion with a B from the federal government, and we're not even top 25 in education in the world.
Right.
What are we getting for all these tax dollars?
Well, not only I'm sorry. What the thing is too that people don't understand is that what that proves is that pouring money into education is not going to make people smarter.
Right. Pouring money into education is not going to make people smarter. And the federal government has no business in our education system whatsoever. The state should control the education according to the Constitution of the United States. So it is literally unconstitutional to have a Department of Education. It is literally unconstitutional to have the Environmental Protection Agency that rules over our businesses like a communist dictator. It is literally unconstitutional to have these things. And this goes back to the whole socialism versus capitalism argument, where capitalism obviously made our country great, made all the Western countries great. People want to say the North countries are socialist. They're not. It's just because of their healthcare that they call them socialist. You could start a business in the North countries. So, I mean, it's do you like the DMV? Right. Every time someone wants to argue with me, is socialism good? I ask them, do you like the DMV? And they say, no, I don't like the service at the DMV. Because when you walk into the DMV and you get shit service, you can't go down the street and say, I'm taking my business elsewhere, because there is no elsewhere for the DMV. They don't care. They don't have an incentive to give you good service because it's run by the government and only by the government.
Right, and you want, that's pretty much, I kind of use that analogy also when I'm talking about healthcare, because I say it in a different way. I say, do you want the hospitals looking like the DMV? You know what I mean? Like, is that what you want? Because that's what's going to happen. Because the theory is that with the free market, you're giving people incentive to make money. When the federal government is just funding, you stop caring. You know what I'm saying? Like, you stop caring about the actual idea. See, I think people get mad when the idea that people are going to make money off of healthcare. But it's, right. Dude, it's just, unfortunately, or fortunately, it's just another job. It's another job that people need to get compensated for, especially the amount of years in debt they go into just to become a doctor. I mean, some of these doctors are, in debt until their 40s. Right. Maybe even more.
Right.
That's another thing. To bring it back to CUDAHY, I think what's a shame is that, clearly these people do not want anyone going against, and to be fair, see, what I was going to say is these people don't want people coming in talking about the sanctuary city thing. Now, but to be fair, the city of Cudahy they voted more, Jack Guerrero, if I'm correct, Jack Guerrero got more votes than any other council member in a town like Cudahy. So that means there must be a lot of people in Cudahy who are anti-sanctuary city too. I'm assuming this. I don't have the facts in front of me, but that's what it seems to be. But what I was saying about that is that, okay, so let's the obvious, right? Though, they see it as people coming down, outsiders, to try to take people that live in their city out of their city. That's kind of the more extreme way to look at it. The only problem is that they're being kind of duped by the counselors, because the counselors, especially Chris Garcia, has pushed this whole white supremacy thing, and all these little groups have pushed this white supremacy thing. The reality is, though, like, let's say one of those kids, right? These kids the other day. What happened if they did do something, right? So let's say they do something. So let's say they hit you. Let's say they stabbed you. Let's say anything happened. You know, I don't know what was going to happen, you know, because anybody watching that live stream, you didn't know what was going to happen. Now, they go to jail, right? For what? You know what I mean? For what? Like, so now they got court cases, now they got fees, now they got, for what? What were they fighting against? Were they really fighting for their best interest? Maybe if their parents are here illegally, maybe they are. But besides that, I don't see how they are.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, even like some of like the old school, like multiple generation Latino people that live here, Mexican people, were voting for Trump. I mean, yes. A lot of them were like completely 100% against illegal immigration and the problems that it brings. Because, you know, they had to come in here legally. Some of them had to wait back then, you know, 5-10 years to get their legal status. I mean, it cost us, you know, $10,000 somewhere around there, and we had to wait years to get my wife legalized. So it's you know, it's a disheartening thing to see people just come across and automatically get, you know, government welfare checks and government welfare checks and what do you call it, the WIC and the food stamps and things like that, and just hop in the front of the line and just, you know, hop in front of the line and just kind of like cut in line for everyone else. So I'm sure that there are people in Cudahy and other places that are against, you know, the corruption and the, you know, the sanctuary city status in some of these cities, but they can't do anything because they're overwhelmed. You know, they're out majority, you know, so they can't do anything, and it's kind of a sad state.
Right. No, exactly. You know, and someone had brought this up. They brought up the fact that, you know, when you guys were leaving, like they were saying that the police weren't doing anything. The police were standing down. Now, it's clear that the police, they don't want you guys there, right? That's safe to assume.
Right. They don't want.
I should say they don't want us there, because I've been there too. So.
Yeah, they don't want you there. You're doxxed now since you're putting your face on camera.
Right.
And you know, they don't like us, and that's just the way it is. So. And it's almost like the Berkeley police, right?
Right. I guess it, like, it's just kind of like one of those things where I wonder. I mean, would you even ever expect the police from Cudahy to do anything? You know what I mean? Because they want you out of the city so bad. Does it make sense that happened, or do you see it as unjust?
I mean, I think that they just like, I mean, every other city, right? Every other city we've been to, LA, every other city except for Berkeley, you know, whenever there was an intense, superheated argument involved, the cops would get in between and you know, try and diffuse the situation, right? That's what they're supposed to do.
Right.
You know, in this instance, that didn't happen. So I don't know what to think. I don't know what their training entails. I don't know if they're supposed to do that, you know, if they're not supposed to do that, but they were standing in a line just watching and waiting for a fight to break out, it seemed like, at Cudahy. That's what it seemed like to me.
Right, because I was even watching the videos when, like, you guys would get, like, when they were getting up in your face, the cops, like, it shows them in the background just pretty much standing there, right?
Right.
And
right.
So, like, I guess, you know, like, were they doing that because they didn't want it to escalate, or do you think they were doing that because they were, like, good, like, let them do it and let them get them out of here? Like, do you feel like they were almost using the youth as a tool to get you guys out?
I don't know. I'm not exactly sure. I can't really speculate on that. I mean, I guess my only opinion would be that, yeah, maybe they were just waiting for something to happen so that they could... I don't know. Who knows? There was some cops filming. I saw some cops filming, you know, with their cameras. So So.
Well, I guess one of maybe the two things, I guess, just so we're clear on everything. Like what? Just give a quick recap of basically. I'm trying to figure out how the best way to ask this. Give a quick recap of how you felt everything went down that day. Like, and when I mean that, I'm saying, like, can you just give a like when that was all over that day? How did you feel? Like when you drove away, what was going through your mind? Like how were you feeling? Type, you know what I mean?
I guess I was mostly like angry. I don't know. I mean, just mostly just angry. And yeah, I said a whole bunch of stuff that I probably wouldn't say on a normal, regular basis. But yeah, I mean, that's basically the only emotion that I can say.
And like, and you were going down there you were going down there to cover it, but you were also going down there because of your views on sanctuary cities, correct?
Right.
Right. Okay. And how, like, so I'm sorry, I'm like lost track of a sec. I gotta stop looking at the screen.
Looking at the comments.
Yeah, right. yeah. I gotta stop. I did really well for a minute, and then well, you know what, you know what? Let me say it like this. I guess we can end it on this.
Someone's saying that Vince Shutter has a video of a female Cudahy officer stepping in and asking to make sure that the debate was not devolving to fight. Yeah, but that was before, though. That wasn't this day. That was not this day.
That video was from that was actually the BuzzFeed video I played where he does the Roman salute. And yes, and that female cop is actually awesome. Like, every time I go there, she's very polite. She even made sure I had a seat in front. So they're actually not all against everyone. You know what I mean? Because I have been there. You know, there's a few cops that are always cordial. There's another one with a shaved head that, like, I have video where he kind of thanks Arthur, like, you know, thank you for, you know, not turning this into a complete shit show. Basically, I think that's just what he's getting at. You know, you have to understand that these people have jobs. They're foot soldiers. They might have their views. They might not have their views. I'm sure some of them agree and some of them don't agree. You know what I mean? But that's their job. I guess the last thing I would ask is that, you know, because, like I said, when you go down there, everything got hot so quickly. You know, it gets hot so quickly. And it's really just a distraction, all this stuff with the police and, the way the news tells the story. Like that first clip that came up, and it was basically like, they didn't even mention the meeting, right? It just basically said Trump supporters show up in Cudahy to terrorize the residents or something like that.
That's what it said, yeah.
Yeah, so it said that. So I think a lot of this gets lost in all that muck. So the last thing I guess I'll ask for you is basically, you know, what was your message? You know what I mean? If you could talk to all those people that you were arguing with, you know, like, what would your and you could say whatever you want. It doesn't have to be polite. It doesn't have to be, but without everybody yelling in your face. You know, what is your message? What is your main objective with all this?
If I could tell everyone to their face. Yeah, I mean, basically give them the statistics that I know. I mean, you know, if you really look at it, I mean, you got a lot of problems that legal immigration causes. I mean, especially for the black community, you know, that live in these areas. There was a poultry farm in North Carolina called the House of Rayford Farms, and they had a direct competitor just a few miles away from them, another big, huge poultry plant, right, employed thousands of people. And the House of Rayford Farms, you know, their competitor, all of a sudden one day had the ICE come in. So the ICE came in, ICE, Immigration Customs Enforcement Agency, came into this competitor of the House of Rayford Farms and raided their entire facility, and, you know, sent all the illegal immigrants home. Right, so the House of Rayford Farms, this other poultry plant that employed thousands, got a little bit scared, and they were like, okay, this was only a few blocks away from us. Maybe they're going to raid us next. So what they did was they fired all the illegal immigrants that they were working there, and they hired back black Americans. In one day, or in a matter of about 3 days, the story goes that it went from 70% Latino working there to almost 80% black Americans working at this poultry plant. So illegal immigration directly affects the black community, directly, and hurts them. A lot of people say, oh, you're immigrants, you're never going to do like the farming jobs that all the immigrants do. The thing is that according to Pew Research, the most renowned research company in the world, yep, according to them, only 4% of the jobs that illegal immigrants hold are in agriculture. Yes. The majority of the jobs that they hold are in construction, 37%.
Absolutely.
So you're going to tell me that black Americans or white Americans don't want to have construction jobs? Really? Like that's completely false. It's a fallacy. Well, so I'm a statistics guy.
Yeah, and that's
when it comes to things like that. And that's what I want to tell them, you know, if I can sit them down, but it'll never happen.
Right, you're correct. It probably will never happen. And that's the thing, you know, I got to be honest, like the one thing I've noticed throughout all this is how people talk in the public and how people talk in private. And, you know, I can't, like, when you turn on the news will say, without a doubt, that illegals do not get free healthcare. Well, it doesn't happen. Well, that's not true at all. Because I actually I have a friend down in Miami, and I was visiting, and what they said was when I was down there visiting, what they said was you know, she basically brought it up how she, you know, she works in a hospital, and she wasn't even saying it in a negative way. She was saying she used to work in a private hospital. Now she works in a public hospital in downtown Miami. She says she loves her job. She loves taking care of people. She thinks it's great. So she wasn't even saying anything bad. But what she went into the conversation, she brought up the fact that, yeah, but it's really crowded. And I said, why is it so crowded? She says that there's a lot of there's a lot of people there illegally. They don't have documents, and they can't be turned away. And she said that, you know, it's packed full, you know, and they're not all, but a lot of them are, and this is in Miami. So this idea that, you know, like, it doesn't affect it at all, like, oh, they're here illegally, they don't get this, they don't get that benefits. If you're here in this country is so giving. People try to say it's not, but this country is so giving. It doesn't matter if you're here legally or illegally, you can get some handouts. It's without a doubt.
Yeah, no, I happen to know very firsthand, you know, that is a fallacy, that it does happen, and it happens quite a bit, actually. So, you know, there you go.
And it comes down to debate, you know, and that's the point. The stuff you brought up about the construction and the thing. I tend to like. I really like. I don't know if you've seen it, but the actually David does them. Him and Arthur, when they go to Santa Monica and they do the debates with the microphones.
Yeah, the debates, right?
Dude, that's genius to me. Like, I think they should keep doing that, and I really need to get over there more too when they do it. So if you talk to Dave, talk to him about that, and let me know if it happens again. I think that's one of the best things. I just think that, like I've said this to you before, that, you know, I love the bullshit. You know what I mean? I love the TMZ. I love all that stuff. I love the drama. You know what I mean? It's like, everyone loves the drama, right? But also, I think people are hungry for dialogue, you know, open dialogue, where it's not like, you know, Fox or CNN, where they give you 2 minutes to, you know, spit your stuff and then they cut you off. You know, long, drawn-out debates. I've said this before. You know, if you go back on YouTube, you see videos of Malcolm X, you know, and he's on there with 3 guys, you know, 3 white guys. I'm sure some of them are racist. You know what I mean? Malcolm X wasn't like, I'm not gonna do a debate with a racist. It's like he lived back when, you know, people were literally trying to kill him on both sides. His people in the end were the ones trying to kill him and did kill him, and like the Nation of Islam and stuff. When, you know, people always, when he's hanging out the window with that gun, that famous picture, he's not worrying about white people. That was shortly before his house got burned down by the NOI. I mean, I'm sure he had beef with everyone, but at that particular moment, that's what that beef was going on. So what I'm saying is, you know, you get these SJWs that basically think that, like, you know, everyone, like Talib Kweli, I could rattle them off. All these people in the public eye, they literally think that they're above debate. They're above debate with people that they disagree with, because, oh, I'm above that. And it's just, it's really disgusting to me, to be honest with you.
Right.
Yeah, so we'll end this, and then we'll basically what we'll do is we'll stick around for a couple more minutes, but I just want to wrap it up, and then we'll stick around for the comment section. So, is there anything else you want to say? Do you want to say anything else? Do you want to give yourself a plug? Do you want to tell people where you can be followed at, where you can be found? Anything that's coming up that you want to tell people about?
No, not really. I mean, we got a lot of events coming up, so follow our Facebook page, The Red Elephants. And
what's your Twitter?
You know, we'll post the events. It's at Real Red Elephant, at Real Red Elephant. So we post all the events that are coming up and things like that. So
excellent. All right. Well, this has been this is actually one of my first. I think it is my first live interview with Vince from The Red Elephants. Thank you very much for joining us, and thank you very much for coming on and being my guest, Vince.
No problem, man. We're gonna chat about the comments or what?
Yes. I just wanted to polish it up at the end. Yeah. So what's like anybody? So everyone in the comment section. Get it popping. You can if you want to ask Vince something, if you want to ask me something, let me know. SA888 Shuttershot 45 #1. I mean that's about as accurate as you can get. But yeah, let's open it up. I go grab something in the kitchen real quick. I will be right back.
Sorry, I was looking at my phone. I'm not sad. I was just looking at my phone.
Okay.
Someone was like, "Oh, Vince is sad. He's looking down." Is the camera hit me okay? Yeah, let me see here. How's the camera look, Adam?
Shuttercock.
Shuttercock. Should be Shuttercuck, right?
Shuttercock. I'm sure they'll get to that eventually. I have a feeling by the end of all this, that's what I will be coined by. At least the alt-right will coin me the Shuttercock.
Jew Goldstein says, "Do you think it was a setup, Vince?" Yeah, you know what I mean. Like, the thing is super weird because when we were live streaming from Facebook, the Maxine Waters Town Hall on Saturday, our live stream got stopped in the middle of it, and then one of our admins got banned from posting. And the thing is that then on Monday in Cudahy, we were live streaming again from a different admin's page and from the Red Elephants page. That live stream got stopped in the middle and banned from Facebook, deleted and banned from Facebook for 30 days. So I don't know. I mean, it is kind of strange that the first 2 bans ever on a live stream that ever happened to us ever were during, you know, like a Maxine Waters Town Hall and then at Cudahy in the same week. Some people think it was a setup by Maxine Waters. I don't know. I mean, they did go after the car right away that had Maxine Waters or Omar Navarro's wife in it. I mean, I don't know.
AZ Villain wants to know, what are these 2 metrosexuals bitching about?
I am a metrosexual. Fag said fags vape. I'm a fag.
Fags vape. Thank you, Lit 1 2 3 4.
Anyway.
Portuguese
of Portuguese descent from Europe.
Oh,
she's
man.
White. So she's white. So.
Those are the original slave traders, aren't they? Well, at least to the Americans. Aren't they the one who started it all? The Portuguese?
Gino says, "Suck that glass dick." I love it. No, the glass dick would be the meth pipe, wouldn't it be? Yeah, it'd be the meth pipe. That's the meth pipe. We don't do meth. Straight edge. No alcohol, no drugs. But yeah, I think the Portuguese were, they definitely were the big colonial footprint on the world back in their day.
Right there.
Maharlika. These troll comments are funny.
Show us your cock.
Show us your cock.
Electric dick. Wow, this went sour
quickly. Really fast.
Yeah. And did I tell you that's what happened last night? People are all into it, and then it just boom. Once
right.
you get off topic, people are just like cock Jew.
Right. Troll.
Master race.
Master race. Yeah.
From the live feed, it sure looked like it's set up by Waters. Asher Cohen. From the live feed, it
showed that cock, like not your real cock. Okay.
So
your manager is calling. Sorry, go ahead. I'm like immersed in these comments now.
That's all good. I know it says right here, is America a white country? That's what someone was asking. Is
America a white country? No, not anymore. It's not anymore. I think if you look at the recent census data, whites will be a minority by 2055. No, whites will be a minority by 2030. So it'll be but they'll be less than 30% by 2055 because of the birth rates right now.
The funny thing about that statistic I always find funny is that you know liberals made it because you have to think of it a little deeper. So they're saying, okay, they're going to be the minority in whatever year it is, 2030. And dude, I don't know, living in New York City, I don't know how many whack job liberals would say the stat with just drool coming out of their mouth. Just and they're white too. These are white liberals. They're like, yeah, in 2040 or 2030, the white race is going to be the minority. Like, dude, they get so worked up about it. They love it. It makes them so happy. But what doesn't make sense for me is that, okay, so let's say white people are 49%. Well, that still makes them the majority, because unless you're lumping in all other races together, right?
Right. So that's like a popular vote argument, right? So people say like, oh, Donald Trump didn't win the popular vote, but by that logic, by your logic that you just used right there, Adam, then also Bill Clinton didn't win the popular vote because he didn't get more than 50%. He didn't get 50.1% of the vote either. So that's kind of like the whole popular vote argument if you want to use it like that. But yeah, technically you're right. So technically,
what I'm saying is that if they're 49% and you say, okay, what's the majority race? What would you say? What's the majority race in the country?
Right now?
No. Let's say it's 2030 or whatever the year is, right? And white people are 49% of the population. So, and I asked you in 2030, I said, well, Vince, what's the majority? Who's the majority race in this country?
Well, yeah, by your logic, it would still be whites, because unless you want to lump all the non-whites together, then right. Yeah, right.
But that's what I'm saying, like, and that's why I say that these statistics were made by liberals, because only liberals would do that. Like, only liberals, because liberals, they've been trying to do that forever. That's what. Oh shoot, there goes my thing. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, good. Oh, look at this. That's a great screenshot they left me. I'm like, hey, how you doing?
Funny. Hey.
Oh, forget about it.
Business.
What was I saying though? You can hear me, right?
Yeah.
That's fine. So
yeah, it'll be a majority country. That's what Drew Goldstein says. Yeah. So I mean, but if you want to go just like versus like non-whites versus whites, then yeah, we'll be the minority.
Right, but that's what I'm saying though. Like you have to ask yourself, like, oh, okay, do you think Asians want to get lumped in with, you know?
No, Asians, in my opinion, Asians are white.
There you go. Hold on a second. I want to see if I can find like a picture of myself or something, and I'll just put a picture. Oh, yeah, let me see. But like what I'm saying is that all I'm saying is that I'm just saying that, like, statistically, there would still be. I mean, it's still. I'm not like arguing that it's not a huge decrease, and it's probably not in a certain way systematic. You know, psychologically systematic to lessen the white race, but that stat is a little funky. It almost it kind of tells you what liberals think, because liberals basically view anyone who's not white as the same. You know what I mean? It's like they're the ones saying that there's white people and then there's everyone else.
Right.
You know, that's like almost like a liberal you know, baby. A liberal.
Right.
They birthed that thought. That's what I'm trying to say. Does that make sense?
Makes sense. You gonna put your batteries in your camera or no?
I'm just gonna do a because
laptop. Right.
Well, I'll just do the picture. Watch. I'll be back in a second. I'll just do a picture for now.
Yeah, Asians are on average smarter and commit less crimes than whites. That's true. That is true. Statistically, that is true. Asians are like super peaceful. They're like super like chill.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing. See, this is the thing. The thing with all this is the stuff you can't. This is why it's very hard to debate like the left, because you know whenever you want to bring up a stat that's.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. These comments are funny, dude. I made it. Someone just said, just do a double picture of Vince. Talking to myself.
I just did the picture. Yeah, I like the Skype picture where you're all yoked up.
That's funny, dude. Oh my god. Anyway, go. What were we saying though?
Oh my bad. What was I saying? What were we talking about?
I don't know. I was saying Asians are peaceful.
Oh, well, basically what I was saying is that's a problem with the left, is they have a hard time debating anything that is that might offend people. That's basically their mindset. Their mindset is that we're smart, we know everything, we know all the facts, but we don't want to talk about certain facts because they're offensive. Right. Which is pretty much the setup that will create really stupid people.
We shouldn't have to be. We shouldn't have to be. We shouldn't have to be. Political correctness is a cancer to any society.
Yes.
I mean, you could see what's going on in the UK, what's going on in Canada. People are getting arrested for talking out against Muslims or whatever on fucking Facebook. They're getting arrested for it. They don't have free speech in the UK or Canada like we do here. We should have the right to speak, and it's been deemed by the Supreme Court 3 times that hate speech is protected in the Constitution as long as you're not inciting violence and telling people to go kill someone. So whatever they want to talk about hate speech, you know, talking about Muslims, you know, committing 1,499 of the terror attacks in 2016 out of the 1,500 terror attacks that happened in 2016, or, you know, that Mexicans have illegal Mexicans coming over here are causing crimes by the hundreds of thousands, you know, within each year, or whites are fucking have brunch and that's super gay, or blacks commit the majority of crime even though they make up only 13% of the population, or we should be able to say these things, you know. So
no, I agree.
Talk about anything. We should be the Jews control the media. That's a fact. You know, you can't be called an anti-Semite for hate for facts.
Well,
you know what I mean?
One of the biggest mistakes, I say this, and one of the biggest mistakes that Europe, along with Canada, made was that they made anti-Semitic laws. And that was the beginning of the end for them, because, see, we don't have that in this country. You know what I mean? That's why you actually can. You know, you can get ostracized, but you can't, as far as I know, you can't go to jail for being anti-Semitic. In Europe and in Canada, they have laws on the books that literally, like, there's been big trials about that stuff, where people have, you know, wound up in jail. They had big trials where they lost their whole careers because they said stuff that was deemed anti-Semitic, and it's basically it's thought police. And the problem with that is now you see what's going on in Europe, and the Muslim population is saying, well, hey, they have anti-Semitic laws.
Right.
You know, we need anti-Muslim law. We need Islamophobia laws.
Right. It's just all bullshit.
It's all
By
bullshit.
the way, Nice Guy National Socialist comes up with a good point. He says, what does that tell you? We can't question our controllers. So, yeah, so what was the saying? There was a saying I saw a while back. It said, if you want to know who you can't criticize, something like that. I can't remember what the hell was the saying was. By the way, make a Nice Guy a mod. He's a mod on our channel. He's a great mod. But yeah, so I mean, I don't know what the saying was exactly. If someone could rewind or remind us of what that saying was. But yeah, it's a good point. I mean, you can't question who controls us. You can't talk about, certain things. And
no, right. Well, yeah, and what people do is that here's the thing, like. So, like, you have a conversation, and let's say you have a live chat or whatever, and, like, you have something public where you're talking about, like, you want to open and you have a deep, in-depth conversation about something involving, the Jewish, like you said, the Jewish people owning the media. And if you say that, then it will be taken out of, like, people, this is what I'm talking about. Like, right now we're in a point where they use that stuff. Well, that's a good question. Do you think... So the fact is, what I'm saying is let me just stop rambling. What I'm basically trying to say is that the media will take a little bit, so they'll say, oh, Vince, we're not going to have Vince on our show because Vince is, he talks about Jewish conspiracies as an anti-Semite. Here's the proof. Here's the conversation. And if you listen to it, you're like, oh, okay, you're not really saying anything. And you're not on there like, I hate Jews and friggin', they're blah, 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 like all the crazy shit. So, do you think that matters still?
Yeah. So, if you want to know who rules over you, see who you can't criticize. So that's exactly what the saying was, and
okay.
Nice Guy reminded me of that. And so, yeah, I think that to find out who rules over you, find out who you can't criticize. Right. And so that is the. I mean, that's. Dude, we could shit on Muslims all day. We had fucking signs at our rally that said "Goats' Life Matter." We had signs at our rally that said, "Save the goats." At one of the rallies we're at. And then whenever someone like Baked Alaska criticizes someone of Jewish descent, all of a sudden he's like an anti-Semite and he's asked to disavow anti-Semitism, like publicly. Like,
yeah,
that doesn't make sense. That's what SJWs do. We should be able to criticize everyone equally.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck if people talk shit about white people. Like,
right.
No one cares. No one cares whenever someone talks shit about white people.
Exactly.
Or someone makes a black comedian make a black voice, white voice joke, or something like that. So that's what I have to say about that.
No, absolutely. No, I agree, because that's the only way, like, yeah, you do have to question, like, it's kind of what he was saying, you have to question when, anything you're not allowed to question, you have to immediately be like, wait, why can't I question that? You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of like, it should go off in your head.
Right.
Because if you grow up in this country, you learn, especially, if you read the Constitution, if you understand why the First Amendment was made, that, like, people don't understand that without the First Amendment. Like, people don't understand that the First and Second Amendment, how important they are, because we live in a society that's become so perfected in certain degrees. It's not all the way there, but, it's so closely perfected that, we don't need, who really needs those laws anymore? It's like, dude, you don't understand. That's literally the foundation. That's why it's the first and the second. You know what I mean? They didn't put it, like, as an afterthought. Like, they didn't write all the Constitution and be like, right to a fair trial, all that stuff, the stuff about the search warrant, everything. They didn't, like, at the end say, let's let everyone say whatever they want. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's literally the first thing on the goddamn thing. And then the second one was like, yeah, we need guns. So we need to be able to say whatever we want, and we need guns. There's no way it's going to work. Without that, we can't get past that. Like, just think about a whole room full of people. We're on page with that.
Right. No, yeah, it'd be a lot safer, right? Because no one would mess with anyone because everyone would have guns and no one would be like, yeah, I'm gonna go start a fight with that dude and he's got a fucking gun in his holster, in his belt. That's not gonna happen, right?
Yeah, no,
I mean, just look at where all the open carry laws are. Look how much less crime they have than everyone else.
Yeah, it's the reality. The reality is that if you're always gonna have a crazy person. So even with a society full of guns, you're sure, okay, you'll always have a guy who's gonna go crazy and shoot anyway because he doesn't care about dying. But yeah, of course. I mean, if you're gonna live, like we made the decision a long time ago to say, okay, we're gonna have guns in our society. That's not gonna go away. We're gonna have guns in our society. So with that being said, yeah, now like it's them trying to make all these special rules that hurts because it's like, okay, now you're allowing people to have guns and then you're telling all these people they can't have guns. So that's why you have places like Chicago because a whole country says, no, guns are okay, So
right.
The guns are being made, you know what I mean? Criminality is always going to be in play, so the guns make it to Chicago. But now the guns are illegal, so now you're setting people up. So now I'm living in Chicago. I need to protect myself, but I can't protect myself. So when I do protect myself, the cops pull me over. I got a gun. Now I'm going to jail. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's definitely a screwed up situation. But in my mind, there's definitely no budging. It's like, dude, yeah, you gotta. That's part of the whole thing. It's like making a cake. You know what I mean? I mean, you can make a flourless cake, but leave me out of that. I need some flour in my cake.
I need some flour in my cake. Right. Gluten-free. Killing us.
That's what I'm saying. So yeah, gluten-free is that's like the guns they want to make where like you need like a fucking code to shoot it or something. The ideas that they come up with, they're so stupid. You know what I mean? It's like no one's got time for any weirdo shit when someone's breaking in the house. That's what guns are for. Guns are for when people break in your house. That might be the majority of what they use for in this country.
Right.
Someone
we need a national open carry law. Yeah, that'd be nice. National open carry law.
Trump actually talked about that during the campaign.
That'd be nice, but again, with the state rule, it'd be hard to do that.
Right, because the states would be able to.
Right. Because to have. So that goes against everything I believe in too. Like you can't contradict yourself, right? So you say that the state should have more power over the federal government. I don't care if the president in office is the one who I support or not. I don't think that the federal government should be able to impose like any sort of national laws like that, like federal, like super hardcore federal laws like that. Like
right. No, yeah, I'm kind of with you on that.
Right.
I can use I'm using my shitty camera. Just so people know I'm still here. Am I here? Soros interview said he turned into Jews to the Nazis. All his policies prove his loyalty. Eat shit, mod.
I'm the only mod, so I don't know. They're probably talking to me. Chi-Town infringes on Second Amendment rights. Chi-Town, yeah, they do, yeah.
So we got any more questions? Anybody got any more questions for Vince? Anything interesting? What do you think, Rabbi Media? Everyone should be proud of the skin they're born in. Yeah, everyone should be just proud of who they are. You know what I mean? No matter what it is. Just be proud of who you are.
Right.
It's crazy that we've created a society where we've literally raised generations of people to slowly hate themselves, self-hatred. Scroll back for all the questions. I know. Shit.
Someone says, "Yeah, how's Tony? Tony's good. Going to see him today or tomorrow. I'll get a video shout out from him.
Excellent.
It'll be on my YouTube.
Excellent. You guys avoided answering the question, not about stats. Should America be white? Do we deserve our own country? I'll let you. Go ahead. You answer it.
Well, I mean, what's your opinion on that? No, I mean, we're not gonna fucking start kicking out fucking people. No, fuck no. What are you talking? I don't know what that means. But yeah, the whites do deserve their own country in the sense that the EU is controlling all these fucking immigration platforms. Like, for instance, like even the 1965 Immigration Act of America. We saw how the census stats of demographics started out before the 1965 Immigration Act, and where they are now after 40, 50 years of the effects of that 1965 Immigration Act. So we saw the demographics take a dive. But yeah, I have a CCW already. But yeah, so basically, but yeah, so what was I saying? So in Europe, though, the EU elites, they control all this immigration, and they're just flushing out all these white people, right? And just forcing this immigration upon European countries, and that's why Brexit happened, right? That's why Poland is going against the EU and is getting sanctioned like hell for it, and not accepting immigrants, because they want to keep their sovereign country. They want to keep their culture, right? They have a culture. But yeah, I mean, as far as like, are whites entitled to their own country? Yeah, I would say yeah. The European countries should not be flooded with all this immigration. It's taking over their culture. I think half of the citizens in London, more than half of the citizens in London are not born in London. They're from Middle Eastern countries. That's a fact. So that's, I mean, that's my answer.
Yeah, so with me, it's first of all, the question is, should America be a white country? I don't think any land should be, like, I don't think that's how it works. I think, everyone who, in this world, you fight for what you want. And that's, the victor gets to keep the land. I mean, that's just the way it works. So,
right.
So as far as America has changed. Like you said, the 1965 Act, it just changed a lot of things. It's the world I grew up in. I actually love, like, the thing is, this past year and a half, like, I'm around so many people, like I said, like, the white, black, Spanish, immigrants, like, there's people, I've felt the American spirit in all these people. So I really personally don't think it's all about white. Like, I think I'm more about American, because because if you look in Canada, if you look in Europe, they're mentally weak, or they appear to be what's going on. You could come to the opinion that they're mentally weak, and there's a lot of white people over there. So I don't think anything about actually being white. I think the spirit of the nation is actually stronger than any race. That's just my personal opinion, because that's what I grew up around. Also, that's especially this past year and a half, my experiences. Like, if I get into trouble right now, my best friend is Mexican, and this is not me virtue signaling. This is just me telling you how it is. So, like, it's hard for someone like me to turn around and be like, yeah, it should be an all-white country. I don't know what that would look like. In fact, I think that might be really boring. Sure, maybe there'd be lower crime, maybe this, that, all those statistics you can bring up, but would it be interesting? And in my whole life, I've always tried to make it a little spicy, so that's just my opinion. Now, as far as, like I said, yeah, like, if you want any race, let me put it like this. Any race, every race should be able to uphold. There should always be white people. There should always be black people. There should always be Asian people and Arab people and in Asian people. I don't want to miss anyone out. And if you start seeing that systematically being attacked, and you look around and you see, okay, well, we're the minorities in the world. Like, you have every right to you shouldn't feel guilty at all for pushing back on that. You know what I mean? No, not at all. I don't care what race you are, what culture you are. I don't even see it as a right. I see it as whether or not you're gonna be the victor, or are you gonna be the conqueror or the conquered? That's just the way the world works. That's the harsh reality of the world. That's not. And that's why. Go ahead.
And that's why you see the rise of white nationalism and the alt-right and things like that. And that's why they're becoming more and more powerful, because more and more people are agreeing that there is an attack and a blatant attack on white people in this country. There's a blatant attack for white, indoctrination of white hatred in our academia and media complex. There's a blatant attack by the media that tells us to white couples to not have children. There's countless magazine ads and articles and TV commercials that say that white people shouldn't have children. They should just be like enjoy their lives. And so that's the true genocide right there. That's the true subversive white genocide that is happening in America. And then you see with the European countries, it's like a literal replacement. But I think that we should have true diversity, right? I think that, in my opinion, that that there is a replacement going on, which, according to the Geneva Convention, a replacement equals genocide. So.
No, absolutely. But like I said, and for me, it's a psychological thing. So it's just like when they say, when people say, the biggest problem in the black community is black people, is black on black crime, when people, it's not white people that are, you know what I mean, your biggest problem on a day-to-day basis is white people. I mean, it's black people. So what I would say to white people is that if you want to figure out the source of your problem, you're probably more worried about other white people that are doing it. It's white liberals and white people that are actually the major contributors to all this, and maybe the media also. So,
yeah, the white liberals are the worst, man.
Yeah.
The white liberals are like our greatest enemy.
Absolutely.
The white liberals are so bad. And the thing is, when people say, oh, the biggest effect on the biggest negative effect on the black community is black on black crime, that's not even true. The biggest effect on the black community that they have, the biggest problem that the black community has right now is out of wedlock rates. They have almost 72% of black babies are born without a father in their home. That's almost all of them. And I didn't say it, Obama did. Obama said that, according to statistics and research companies, that without a father and a mother in the home, without a father in a child's life, they're pretty often going to turn to crime. Pretty often, not always. You get the cases where people say, oh, I didn't have a father and I didn't fucking cause crime. But in the black community, it's a different story. When there's not a father in the home present, a good role model figure, male model figure, they turn to crime. And when you have almost 70% of almost 80% of the black children, 72% being born without fathers in the home, that's their truest problem. And then you get the Black Lives Matter that say, oh my God, these racist white cops are killing us. For you to claim that that cops killing people is a peril to the black community, that's complete and utter fallacy. That's a false data. That's fake news. Cops kill more white people than black people. You have a 12% chance of getting killed by a cop if you're a white person versus a 4.4% chance if you're a black person. So if the blacks really did care about black lives, they would be attacking Planned Parenthood every day, because both statistics are against them. Both sides are against them. So you have over, like we talked about yesterday, you have in New York in 2012, more black babies were aborted than born. You have 50% of the abortions are black children. They only make up 50% of only 13% of the population. So if they really did care about black lives, they would be going after Planned Parenthood. But they don't. They're just like brainwashed activists running around talking about killing cops because the media tells them that cops are killing only black people, when that's not true. If we talk about total souls killed, not population versus killings, but total souls killed, it's a fallacy. It's wrong. It's false.
No, absolutely. And I just that it's like this whole thing, like I said, is psychological. So it's like no one's like physically holding back anyway, and that's why really it's up to people to make the change, because I don't think there's any physical barriers. It's really all about changing the minds of the people. You know what I mean? Like you grow up, and you're told your whole life that oh, white people did a lot of bad stuff, so don't worry about having kids, because we need everyone else to catch up to us. And then also also they're saying, oh, we're being overpopulated, we shouldn't have a lot of kids and things like that. So you grow up generations like that. There's no wondering. Oh, why is the birth rate down and things like that. Now, if you change the minds of the youth and they could grow up thinking differently, then you can change all that. You could literally change all that through basic parenting and education.
Right. It's true.
I think people are always looking for the quick fix. You know what I mean? They're always. But I'll tell you, people who complain about the whole Jewish thing and how the Jews own the media. Say what you want about Jewish people, they have a long game. They have a long game, and you could actually say Muslims also have a long game. The only people that don't have a long game right now is us.
Right, white people.
White people or Western society in general. We live so day to day. We live so even me. I mean, I'm a hypocrite because I'm the same way. You know what I mean? I'm living day to day half the time. I don't have everything set up like the way I should all the time. As I say, do as I say, not as I do, type of thing.
Right. Anyway, yeah.
But yeah, okay. Well, this is good. I mean, it's 4:00. I probably should. I have a few things before I have to get through before the day ends. But
all right,
this was finally a success. Thank God.
Fuck yeah! Edit it up and post it.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. So I'll just have to download this from the internet, right?
Yeah, you just have to go to your video manager and click the download button on the arrow, drop down arrow, and download it, and then upload it into your video editor program that you have.
Do I have to wait till it processes?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, you do. You do.
And that takes a little while usually, or what?
Yeah, maybe 10 minutes for me. Depends on your internet.
Oh man, I'm sorry. I just have to address this comment. People say this all the time. Miguel S. The whites are the #1 welfare recipient. Yeah, look it up. Of course they're the #1 welfare. They're the largest population.
Right.
Of course they're going to be the largest welfare recipient. Of course white people take, but statistically, I think they're 35% of the welfare. And no one's fucking, I don't know, maybe he's probably talking to someone in the comment section and not, because I don't think we even talked about anything like that. I don't know. Maybe you did.
No, I didn't know.
But yeah, no one says that white people are perfect. You know what I mean? It's just the reason why these conversations are being had now is because the pendulum is swung so far. It's you can't even bring up good things that white people have done. It's you can't bring up bad things anyone non-white has done. You can't bring up anything good white people have done. You know what I mean? So it gets to the point where it's wait a minute, historically, white Europeans, they've done some pretty good shit. They've done bad shit, but so hasn't everyone else. But I always say that people get mad. Listen, the whole world was conquering, raping, and pillaging. It's just that the Western Europeans, they figured it out a better way to do it. They just were the ones to get ahead of the game. That's just a fact. I don't even care if this has nothing to do with me. I wasn't here in America. My ancestors were probably, eating boiled potatoes every night.
Right. Whitless said, wouldn't the largest population means more white people would get shot by cops? Yeah, but if you look at percentages, they have a 12% more they're 12% more likely to be shot by cops versus a 4% likelihood of being shot by cops by blacks. My whole point is the media thrives, their ratings thrive off of division, right? They don't thrive off of unity. If everyone was unified in this country, their ratings would drop and there'd be no media news companies because they thrive off of chaos. So when they report that the Philando Castiles, they report all these other black people getting shot by cops, but then they don't go and report the guy who was hogtied, who was white, by cops, and he died of an asthma attack. They don't report the guy who was on his stomach with his hands behind his head in Utah, and he was white, and he got shot by cops with a shotgun, and he had no gun on him.
Right.
They don't report all the unarmed white people getting cops because that doesn't cause division. That causes unity.
No, yeah.
So my whole problem is with the media.
Right. If you literally reported all those, yeah, it would totally change the perception. This has a lot to do with perception. You know what I mean? That's even when you can argue, even if the statistics are swayed in that more black people statistically get killed or whatever, when it comes down to the per capita or whatever you say, that yeah, but also there is without a doubt a lot of criminality in some of these neighborhoods. Where that comes from, that's all debatable, but it does happen. So of course there's going to be more problems. There's going to be more mistakes made in these areas. You know, people are going to. It's all about perception. It's a human nature. That's why Asians don't get pulled over and shot. White people do get pulled because white people are also erratic and sporadic and they're tweakers,
right.
and there's all reasons. Asian people, not so much. Like, you really don't, you know, you don't get a lot of that. You don't get a lot of, like, wilding out Asian people like that are tweaked out and waving guns and just doing the crazy. White people and black people, absolutely both, you know, and Hispanic people, they're all guilty of that. You know, I wanted to ask if CUDAHY 1960, because he's still in here, and I just wanted to ask real quick, if you're still in here, CUDAHY 1960, what did you think of everything that was said in this thing? Did it seem like a fair assessment? Like, where are you on this? And then maybe like a sentence or two.
I don't see him. I haven't seen a comment from him in a while.
Well, no, he just commented recently.
Oh, did he? Oh, I see. What about CUDAHY? Are you folks coming down to tonight's meeting? Oh. Yeah, I don't know if they're... No.
I don't think anyone's going to go to that. I haven't heard anything about that. Antifa girl, Fox News is racist against Muslims. Muslims not a race.
Idiot.
I don't understand why. That's so weird. I'm telling you, that's more liberal
racist,
shit.
Racist, Islamophobe, anti-Semite. All these fucking words don't exist. None of those fucking things exist.
Oh, okay. See, CUDAHY 1960 said it was a fair assessment and well worth listening to. Excellent. Thank you. See, that was
okay.
kind of like my objective, because I know we could go different ways with this, but I'm just trying, you know, like I'm just trying to take it down, maybe an angle that other people haven't taken it down. So I'm glad you said that. Thank you very much. That actually means a lot to me.
Cheshire Cat says if you can convert to it, it isn't a race.
Yeah, dude. It's
boom.
Just, I'm telling you, that's more liberal thought thinking. It's the same thing when I was saying about the majority and the minority thing with the races. That's liberal think. See, liberals are like, oh, they're a race. It's like, no, you idiots, they're not. Like, you came up with that shit.
Right, it's an ideology. That's all it is.
Yeah, there's just gingers. Fucking ginger Muslims. There's tons of them in the UK. And then it's so ridiculous that it's like, oh, the majority... you know, the majority are Arab. It's like, dude, the majority of Christians are probably white. What's your fucking point? You know? Oh, at this point, I don't know if the majority of Christians are white. Now that you say that. Because there's probably a lot of African Christians and things like that, right?
Well,
like,
there's a shitload of South American Christians.
South American Christians.
Right.
They actually probably have more down there than... stop saying...
anyway.
People. Yeah, okay, anyway. So, yeah, good stuff. Thank you, everyone, for joining. That's great. Look, it's still got 68 people. 68 people care what we're saying, so that's good. And again, thank you, Vince, for joining me. This is great.
For sure. Talk to you guys soon.
Yeah, talk to you soon. All right, guys. Everyone, see you later, bro.